Boom. There it is, folks. John Mateer, as expected, is an Oklahoma Sooner. And Brandon, we took a lot of flack on social media and elsewhere when we said the lack of a no contact tag was a clerical issue, as you termed it,
Mhm.
on the Washington State side. But let's examine the facts here. He took one visit very promptly, and he committed to the school that everybody expected him to commit to all along. There might as well have been a no contact tag because no one else
Yeah.
was ever seriously in play here. Yeah, there was some noise about Miami. None of that was real. John Mateer, from the moment he left Pullman, Washington, in effect, he was on his way to Norman, Oklahoma, and he is now locked in as presumably the Sooners starting quarterback in 2025. He's going to have to beat out Michael Hawkins in
Mhm.
spring ball, fall camp. Like there's going to be a legit competition. This OU staff can't make the same mistake they did last year and just hand the gig to one guy too early. But obviously, given the familiarity with Ben Arbuckle's system, there is an expectation, and rightfully so, that John Mateer is your guy in 2025. Led the FBS in total touchdowns with 44 of them in the 2024 regular season, and the
Mhm.
Sooners land the number one quarterback in the transfer portal. How about it?
It's huge. Like I saw a couple of people talk about it yesterday, even today, just kind of watching YouTube and what it meant for Oklahoma to land a player like John Mateer and or at the time Miami potentially landing it too is what they were talking about. But um, it means you can make the playoffs. Like, and
Yeah.
I don't think that is an understatement or an overstatement either. I think you have a guy that has familiarity with the offense that he's going to run, and not just familiarity, the best understanding. He's got 2 years in that offense. Like he knows it like the back of his hand. And so you're going to have that. You're going to have pieces that he's never played with before in his life, like athletes he's never been around before, catching passes from him, handing the ball off to. He's going to have offensive linemen. Yeah, he's had some pretty decent offensive linemen, but if you're at Oklahoma, and I know they didn't have a very strong offensive line last year due to injury and among other things, but you've got some of the best and top recruits in the country right in front of you. So I don't, I just, I don't think you can overstate how important a get like John Materi is. And now Oklahoma probably feels pretty comfortable with the quarterback position, knowing that not only did they have Michael Hawkins, but they've got a guy that had over 4,000 yards and what was it, 49 touchdowns this past season. That is insanity. That's just straight up insanity.
Now, take people in as much as you're comfortable doing so. Take people a little bit behind the scenes here with the whole Mateer portal recruitment, even before he officially hit the transfer portal. Why was it that we believed there was going to be a no contact tag, and why was it that it was such a formality, tag or no tag, when he got in the portal that he was headed to Norman, Oklahoma?
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a surprise to everybody that there wasn't a contact. Again, everybody talked about it on all the videos on 24/7. They all expected it, and it didn't happen. So we weren't the only ones that expected it to happen. Look, the expectation was one, Ben Arbuckle, 2 hours away from home. Um, is it John Kacheski? Is that Kayes?
Kacheski.
Kacheski, John Kacheski, as well. And then obviously, um, the kid grew up, like I said, right down the road from Oklahoma, and that played a big part in it. Oklahoma's they've developed so many quarterbacks over the years. It wasn't just Riley. I mean, you look back 25 years and it's been quarterback after quarterback after quarterback that they developed into elite college football players and then go on and play in the NFL. So this seems like it was almost a foregone conclusion to him. And it just made sense. It made sense in so many ways. Yeah, I get that Cam Ward did really well at Miami, but this made sense because he can walk in. He's the guy, he's close to home. And I mean, he's going to play in an offense that fits him. that fits him, that he knows fits him. It's not going to be going and fitting somebody else's offense. It's an offense that fits him. So that is why a lot of this worked out the way that it did.
Now, as we look ahead here for Oklahoma to the 2025 season, we don't know what else Oklahoma is going to add. We've got a good idea some of the names that are going to drop at wide receiver, got a good idea of what the supporting cast is going to look like. We don't have all the specifics yet, but when we think about Ben Arbuckle at the controls and John Mateer as the trigger man, how different you think this offense truly has the capacity to be from what people grew accustomed to in 2024? Because as long as that season felt, it it's come to feel like forever since prolific offense was being played in
Yeah.
Norman, even though there was 25 years of it up until that brick wall in 24.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to remember or want to know what it's going to feel like, or potentially, I want to use the word potential because you don't want to put yourself in a corner where and it doesn't happen. Potentially could feel like, look at 2023.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel was rocking and rolling in 2023. Um, the offense could run the ball, they could pass the ball. That is the expectation with Ben Arbuckle's offense in 2025. The difference is you're going to have an elite defense on the other side of the ball uh, that Mateer's never played around. You're not going to have to worry about, do you have to put up 50 points to win? None of that's going to be the case at Oklahoma. And from what I was told today, I'm going to quote the source here, and he said, everything that's gone on over the last few months, there was a meeting, and I kid you not, Venables is done effing around. He is tired of everything and tired of being the nice guy. And that to me should strike fear in people because if you have that firecracker at quarterback, and that's what Materia is. He's Baker Mayfield firecracker. Like he's got that personality, that dog in him. With somebody that's got that dog as a head man as well, that's a combination that can do some damage, Parker.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, from a personality standpoint, play style, yes,
It.
it's reminiscent of Baker. From a personality standpoint, there's some Jalen Hurts there
Yeah.
because Hurts was a fiery competitor, but off the field, he kept a low profile, wasn't super talkative. And you see that with John Mateer, even in just the way that he navigated the portal process. He never made an official announcement that he was
Yep.
entering the portal. I guess he posted a thank you to Washington State on his Instagram, but he never made an official announcement that he was getting in the portal. He never did any interviews. He never put out, oh, these are my top schools. He didn't embrace the pomp and circumstance of the portal process. It was stiletto,
Yep.
in, out, just like that. Washington State to Oklahoma.
It's everything that we reported too. I
Yeah,
know
John
you're an
Mateer
insider.
is, he's
Yeah.
he's all about his business, and that's
Mhm.
what Jalen Hurts was. And I think you made a great point in harkening back to 2023 because that's all this offense needs to be for Oklahoma next
Yep.
season. Gone are the days where you need 48 points a game from a unit in order to ensure that you're in the hunt for a national championship. We may go the rest of our lifetimes without seeing another offense at Oklahoma, the likes of the 2008 unit or the 2017 or 18 units.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't take that to play winning football. And with what we expect from Brent Venables and this defense, if Oklahoma has an offense akin to what they had in 2023, which was an offense helmed by a quarterback that wasn't superhuman by any means, but just did his job and did it well and competed every
Yep.
single freaking snap. Had some solid skill position guys, had a solid offensive line in front of him. All of the pieces, Brandon, none of them were spectacular, but they were good enough to get Oklahoma 10 wins that very well could have been 11 and even 12 if a couple things here and there go the
Yep.
other way. And so for the Sooners, the addition of Mateer, the word I would use, the word I guess I would most associate with this pickup for the Sooners is stability. Man,
Yeah.
you don't feel like you go into 2025 having no idea what your offensive output and production is going to look like. That's not to say you can make specific predictions as to what it's going to look like right now, but you have a general framework as you look back at what Arbuckle and Mateer did at Washington State to understand that, okay, this is going to be a far cry from what we saw in
Yeah.
2024. Whether that means 30 points a game or whether it means 50 points a game, who knows? But it means your offense is going to be able to go win you football games as opposed to your defense having to play lights out football for 60 minutes to get you a win, as was the case for OU this past season.
Yeah, and he's electric too, by the way. Like everything that he does, there's always some sort of excitement with it. And you like you said, you don't need that with what everything else he brings to the table and everything else this offense has a chance to be. I think the best thing about getting a guy like Mateer and marrying him back with Arbuckle is that the identity you're going to have offensively, something that Oklahoma was lost in until the end of the year, but it was too late at that point and the damage was done, the confidence was shot. They're going to know who they are from the get-go. Starting this winter, starting the spring, it's going to be this or that. We're going to be a passing offense with, the potential of having a good run game is what they're going to say, right? And I think that was a far cry of what you saw or what Oklahoma tried to be in 2024. And he's going to have guys with experience around him too. Like the one thing that he's going to have the advantage of that Jackson Arnold did not is all those young guys now are going to have a lot of experience. They got their ass kicked a lot, but they're going to have a lot of experience in the SEC and know what to expect now. Nothing's going to be new to them anymore. And I
Yep.
think that is one of the biggest things. I think it's one of the biggest pieces everybody's missing to begin with. You're merging a really talented quarterback and an experienced quarterback with actual experience on the offensive line. Like there's not going to be a lot of newness outside of a portal addition here or there. Like that's huge.
All right, folks. John Mateer is a Sooner. The big one is off the board. The Sooners have their centerpiece, they have their crown jewel in the 2024-25 portal cycle. Now the question becomes who can they add around the prized Washington State QB transfer? We'll have all that covered for you and much more over at OUinsider.com. Would highly recommend and appreciate that you subscribe over there for just a few bucks a month. We keep you informed and up to date on everything that's going on behind the scenes for OU football, recruiting coverage all off season, basketball, softball. If it's in season, we're covering it, but we never stop covering OU football and recruiting. 365 days a year, we're on the clock for you over at OUinsider.com. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That doesn't cost you a dime. We'll just keep you up to speed with everything that we're doing here on the YouTube side. For Brandon Drumm, I am Parker Thune. Enjoy the day, folks. It's a celebratory occasion. John Mateer is coming to Norman. We'll see you again soon.